Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Corporate Finance online classes. This is Dr. Mahesh M. Monjeri, Assistant Professor from Department of Management Studies, SDM College of Engineering and Technology, Dharwad. So, dear students, I hope you can recall we are learning the time value techniques, compounding techniques, and discounting techniques. Okay. So, just let me take a quick recap of what we have learned in the previous classes. Okay, then let me go ahead with the last case of discounting technique, which is present value of an perpetuity. Okay, so let me share the slide, PDF file now. Students, I hope we can see these. This PDF file, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so remember that we are learning unit number 1, chapter number 2, time value of money, and we are learning the time value techniques, how to convert the present sums into future value, or how to convert the future value into present sums. Okay, for this purpose, there are two techniques. One is the compounding technique and another is discounting technique. So quickly, I would like to remind you that in compounding technique, we convert present values into future values. When we say value, rupee amount, I'm talking about. Rupee amount, I'm talking about. So in compounding technique, we convert present values into future value. And with respect to compounding technique, there are two cases where we can compute the future value of a single cash flow. We can compute the future value of a single cash flow when annual interest is credited once in a year. We call it annual compounding. And second, when interest is credited twice in a year, we call it semi-annual compounding. And we can find out the future value of a single cash flow when interest is credited 4 times in a year, which is quarterly compounding. So after solving simple numerical problems, then we moved on to the second case, that is compound sum of an annuity. So annuity is a stream of equal annual cash flows. Okay. So I hope you can recall. And for compound sum of single cash flow, we used to refer table A1, the compound sum of 1 rupee. And for finding the future value of an annuity, to finding the future value of an annuity, so we refer table A2, that is the compound value of an annuity of 1 rupee. Okay, then we started learning about the second technique, that is discounting technique, or it is also called as present value. So I hope we can recall this. In discounting technique, we convert future value into present value. Since the future value of a rupee is always lesser than its present value, so we call it a discounting technique. The future values are discounted back to their present value with a given rate of interest or discount rate or opportunity cost, which is denoted by small r. Okay. And in discounting technique, so first we learned how to find the present value of a single cash flow. Discounting technique is nothing but present value technique, in which we convert future value into present value. So first we learned how to convert present value, how to find out present value of a single cash flow. So we solved a simple numerical. Then we went ahead with how to find out the present value of an annuity. Annuity is a stream of equal word is important, equal annual cash flows. Okay, so we learned how to find out the present value of an annuity. So for which we referred table A4, the present value of an annuity of 1 rupee. So you should know exactly first whether the present value is to be converted into future or future values has to be converted into present. Depending on that, you can choose compounding technique or discounting technique respectively. So within the technique, again, you need to find out whether you need to find out the present value. For example, present value of a single cash flow or present value of an annuity. Okay, so same way. Then the third case or third situation in a discounting technique or finding present value is related to something called as perpetuity. Okay, something called as perpetuity. So in discounting technique, the third situation or third case is about finding present value of perpetuity. So students, please pay attention. First, let us understand what is perpetuity. Perpetuity is also an annuity, but it is a different. Pay attention. Perpetuity is an annuity with an indefinite life. So perpetuity is an annuity with an indefinite life. See, for example, for annuity, I took the example of cumulative deposit or recurring deposit bank account. I hope this basics you should know. You cannot ask the teacher in PG level to, sir, what is the cumulative deposit? But I will tell still, if you don't know what is the meaning of recurring deposit or what is the type of cumulative deposit, please feel free to ask. Okay. Yeah. So in a cumulative deposit or recurring deposit, you invest certain fixed sum of money. It may be every month or every year. Okay, for a definite period of time. Say for 5 years, for example, for 2 years, for example, or for 1 year, for example. Okay. So I know a friend who has who has opened a recurring deposit or a cumulative deposit where she invests 1,500 rupees per month, every month for a period of 5 years. Okay. So here 5 years is the definite period of the deposit. But perpetuity is an annuity. Yes, we make equal annual or monthly payments, for example, or you can also receive the amount, not a problem. Okay, cash flow, when we say, it can be cash inflows or cash outflows, both. So perpetuity is an annuity with an indefinite life. So the best example is a pension. Okay, if you have any older people who worked for government offices, okay, in home, you will know something that, okay, they will be drawing pension every month. So now pension is given, okay, it is then definitely the amount given to the pension holder every month is same. It doesn't change. Okay, that is the first, equal cash flows. Second, for how many years they are going to receive, okay, pension, either a definite time period. So 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, for how many years they are going to receive pension? Any idea? Anybody who can tell?
Until they die, sir.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Swati.
Lifetime.
Yeah, lifetime. Okay. Lifetime. So the person, retired person, who is going to receive pension, a fixed sum of monthly income for an indefinite life, throughout lifetime. So we don't know when that person is going to die. So that is nothing but perpetuity, a very good example. So I repeat, perpetuity is an annuity with an indefinite life, making continuous annual payments. It may be making payments or receiving payments, both. So best example for a layman or our level is pension received by a pension holder or retired person. So now this technique is slightly different to find out the present value of perpetuity. So we are not going to refer any table. So we have different techniques. Okay, so please pay attention. The present value of perpetuity of rupees C. Okay, C is the symbol. Okay, so the present value of a perpetuity of rupees C amount is given by the below formula, that is capital C divided by small I. This is equation number 2.8. Capital C divided by small I. Okay, so then we also need to determine, okay, as annuity life becomes infinitely longer. So in case of pension, definitely the annuity life is infinitely long. Infinite means we don't know for how many years. The annuity discount factor approaches an upper limit. The annuity discount factor approaches an upper limit. So what is that upper limit? Such a limit is denoted by 1 divided by small I. 1 divided by small I. So we call it as appropriate factor. We call it as appropriate factor. So the appropriate factor is found by merely dividing 1 by the discount rate. The discount rate is nothing but small I. Okay. So as the length of time for which annuity is received increases, the annuity discount factor also increases. But if the length goes on extending, this increase in the annuity factor slows down. Okay. Anyway, you need not give much attention to this factor now. We'll just go ahead with a small example to understand how present value of perpetuity will be found. Okay. So Mr. X wishes to find out the present value of investment which yields 500 rupees in perpetuity discounted at 5%. So Mr. X, okay, is making an investment, okay, which yields 500 rupees in perpetuity. Okay, 500 rupees he is going to receive for indefinite period of time. He doesn't know till when. Okay, and it is discounted at 5%. So you are required to calculate the present value of this perpetuity. So Mr. X has made an investment from which he is going to receive 500 rupees in perpetuity for indefinite period of time. So he wants to find out the present value of this perpetuity. Okay. So how are we going to find out? So please know, first we need to find out the appropriate factor. Okay. So appropriate factor can be found simply dividing 1 by the discount rate. Okay, so the discount rate is 5%. So how can you write this 0.05? 5% is nothing but 5 divided by 100. So if we divide 5 by 100, okay, the answer will be 0.05. So now you can actually divide 1 divided by 0.05. Okay, the answer is 20. The answer is 20. Okay. So as we know, the present value of perpetuity can be simply found out by multiplying the appropriate factor by the annual cash flow. So just above we identified the appropriate factor, which is 20. Okay, multiplied by the annual cash flow, which is 500 rupees. Okay, so the present value of this perpetuity is 10,000 rupees. The present value of this perpetuity is 10,000 rupees. Now, what is the importance of this 10,000 rupees? Now, Mr. X knows that if he makes this investment, he is going to receive 500 rupees for some indefinite period of time. But we can find out now, okay? So what is the present value of this 500 rupees to be received in future for over an indefinite period of time? So which is nothing but perpetuity. The perpetuity of 500 rupees to be received, okay, in future for an indefinite period of time is a 10,000 rupees. So if Mr. X has alternative investment proposals, he can also find out the present value of those investments, okay, and compare those present values with this present value. If the present value of alternative investment proposal is higher than 10,000 rupees, yes, Mr. X should invest in the alternative investment proposal. Okay. If the present value of the alternative investment proposal is lesser than 10,000 rupees, he must invest in this investment. Okay. So that is how we consider. So any questions here? Anyway, will not solve much problems on perpetuity. Okay, and it will not, these sums or numericals will not come in exams also. Okay. But we need to know, since it is there, this can also be found. Okay, see, you dear students, you can find out the present value of perpetuity of the elders at your home, retired elders who are receiving pension. If anybody can do it, okay, I'll be very happy to know. So how you have to do it, please try to understand. For that purpose, what you need is, what is the pension, okay, of your senior elderly person in the home who is retired. Okay, whatever, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, okay, pension every month they are receiving. You just need that amount. Then what else you know from in which bank they are receiving? From the same bank, you can go to the website of the bank and find out the interest rate on, okay, savings bank account. You consider, okay, just consider the interest rate on savings bank account. That is nothing but your small I. Okay, then you can divide 1 by that interest rate on savings bank account. Okay, so what you get is appropriate factor, and multiply that appropriate factor, okay, with the monthly pension amount. Say if it is 30,000 into 30,000, so whatever you get is the present value of the perpetuity. Whatever pension your elderly family member is going to receive throughout his or her lifetime, its present value you can find out. Okay, just those who are curious, those who have interest in learning. And in tomorrow's class, you can just let me know. Okay, any questions about present value of perpetuity? In what is the meaning of perpetuity, or how to find out the present value of perpetuity? Okay, so with example, I have explained. If there are any small doubts, you can ask me. So, can I consider, is it okay, students? It was simple for you to understand?
Sir,
Yeah. Okay, so I'll consider it as yes from the class. Okay, now one small information. See, I couldn't share the PDF file, okay, of additional problems. There are 2 PDF files. Okay, so which I will share after the class. So for now, I will continue with some additional problems, additional numerical problems. Okay, the PDF of which I will share after the class. Okay, then there is one more PDF file of additional problems. So I will share that also after the class today. Okay. So shall I go ahead with solving some additional numerical problems?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Then I'll stop this share. I'll make a new share. Yeah. Before I make a new share, if you have anything to say, any feedback. So this method of teaching a numerical subject, are you able to follow so far? Okay, so a lot of resources are shared, okay, in Google Classroom, before the class, after the class, okay, and all the live classes are recorded and shared into Google Classroom. Even those who are absent, with the help of those PDF files, PPT, and recorded video, okay, they should be able to learn. Over and above, if they don't understand anything, they can always call me. Okay, absent students, you have to call me, remember, to clarify your doubts. Okay, so I hope I'll take it yes. Okay, then let me go ahead with solving some additional numerical problems. Okay, so students, I hope we can see this. PDF. Yes, yeah, thank you. Okay, so I cannot hide it anyway. Let me just check. No, it cannot be hidden. Okay, so anyway, but you pay attention. Stay with me. Don't read in advance. Stay with me. Don't read in advance. Okay. I'm repeatedly saying again and again, when we solve one problem at a time, it turns out to be very easy. Okay, because they are easy, there is no doubt. And the method of teaching is also simple and slow. But when in the I1, for example, you don't know now whether you are going to receive the problem on compounding technique or discounting technique. In compounding, is it going to be a problem on single cash flow or annuity? Right? And in a single cash flow, you don't know whether the interest is whether it will be annual compounding, semi-annual compounding, or quarterly compounding. Think about the types now. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 types here in compounding. Then in discounting technique, you don't know whether the problem will be on present value of single cash flow, present value of annuity, or present value of an annuity. So total 7 types will be there. 7 types of numerical problems. Okay, and you don't know which one you are going to get. Then the confusion begins. So stay with me. I'm explaining you in a way where you don't get confused. Okay, and remember to follow all my steps. Okay, when you solve the numericals or when you write down, okay, also it is good. So in this problem, so these when you say P.2.1, okay, these are numbers from a textbook, but that is a 6th edition textbook. And if you see something as 7A, 5B, that is from old question papers. Anyway, an investor deposits 100 rupees in a bank account for 5 years at the rate of 8% interest. Okay, this problem is given in one line, that's it. An investor deposits 100 rupees in a bank account for 5 years at the rate of 8% interest. Okay, and you see in this case, when you read this simple English sentence, you should be able to understand. So this person is depositing money today. So he is going to receive the benefits in future. So he want to know how much rupee amount he is going to receive in future. So that itself tells you that you have to convert the present sum into future sum. So it is related to compounding technique. This is how you should interpret. That's why I asked you, don't read in advance. Stay with me. It is easy to learn. So find out the amount which he will have in the account if interest is compounded annually, semi-annually, and quarterly. Okay. So there are 3 cases where you have to find out the future value. Okay. If the interest is compounded annually, semi-annually, and quarterly. So now once you read this, though I explained you in the first sentence itself, once you read the problem, and there is additional information also, like you have to find out the present value if the interest is compounded annually, semi-annually, and quarterly. You should stop for a minute, okay, or stop for a second and think. Okay, so whether it is related to compounding technique or discounting technique. So how can you find out? You have to ask one question for yourself, whether you have to convert present sum into future sum or future sum into present sum. Okay, so dear students, okay, meaning of this sentence, okay, will make you understand that. So there is no other alternative in this case. Your English should be good. Reading skills, understanding should be good. And general knowledge in this case also, general knowledge. Common sense we call it. Huh? So if you are going to deposit 100 rupee, definitely you are planning to find out how much amount you are going to receive after 5 years. So it will ask you to convert the present sum of 100 rupee into future sums. There is one more information in the problem from where we can find out. It says find out the amount which he will receive or he will have in his account if the interest is compounded annually, semi-annually, and quarterly. So this compounding of and interest annually, semi-annually, and quarterly is only there in compounding technique and not in discounting technique. So by that we also can find out that it is about compounding technique. So now we know that this problem is about future value of and there is only one sum or only one amount, 100 rupees. Okay, there is no other details. There is only one sum or only one amount. So we call it single cash flow. So this problem is about finding future value of a single cash flow. Hence, we need to consider or use compounding technique. Okay. So far, are you with me, students? I hope I am slow and clear.
Sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So now let us go ahead and solve the problem, or we need to find out the future value of the single cash flow if interest is compounded annually. If interest is compounded annually or annual compounding, interest will be credited once in a year. Okay. So I hope we can recall. Okay, the equation is A is equal to capital P into bracket 1 plus small I raised to small n. Okay. So what is principal? P is principal in the beginning of the period. So that is 100 rupees. It is there in the problem. Then small I is the rate of interest. So which is 8% given in the problem. Okay. Then small n is number of years of the deposit is 5 years. So we know small n is 5. So I told you just write this, okay, for your convenience and understanding. But no need to simplify this. No need to simplify this. Please remember. So I'll write that given data, capital P 100 into bracket 1 plus interest is, I cannot write 8% here, so I write 0.08. 8 divided by 100 is equal to 0.08, bracket complete, raised to 5. So 0.08 is 8% interest given in the problem, raised to 5. Okay, small n is 5-year period. Now I told you no need to simplify this. It will take longer time and chances of errors will increase. So we need to find out this value from time value tables. So for students, to find future value of a single cash flow where interest is compounded annually, which table number we need to refer?
A1.
Yeah, very good, Sakshi. Table A1, compound sum of 1 rupee. So I'm going to share you the table now. Yeah, now I need to stop this share simultaneously. I cannot share too. So I'm going for the time value tables. Students, can you see time value tables?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll go to the page 1. So what are the rate of interest in the problem?
8%, sir.
8%. Okay, so 8% is the rate of interest. And what is the period of deposit?
5 years.
5 years.
5
So
years.
I'll
5
find
years.
out the corresponding value. So from here, or I can go from here, it will be easy. 8% column, 5th year row, 1st year, 2nd year, 3rd year, and 4th year, and 5th year. So what is this value you can see?
1.469.
Yeah, 1.469. Okay. So 1.469, correct? Yeah, 1.469. Okay, so can you see I have written here 1.469 in the problem?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so when I multiply 100, okay, into 1.469, the answer what I'll get is 146 rupee 90 paise. 146 rupee 90 paise is the answer. So if this person invests or deposits 100 rupees in a bank account for 5 years at the rate of 8% interest, where annual compounding happens, or where the interest is credited once in a year, he will have 146 rupee 90 paise in his account after 5 years. So any doubt here? Any doubt? So was it easy to
Yes, sir.
understand? Yeah, thank you. Now we'll go ahead with the second case. If the interest is compounded twice in a year or credited twice in a year, we call it semi-annual compounding. Semi-annual compounding. Okay. So in semi-annual compounding, we use this equation. If you can recall, capital A is equal to, it is actually capital P, sorry, not small p. So capital P into bracket 1 plus small I divided by small m, bracket complete, whole raised to small m into small n, small m into small n. Okay, so just fill the data into this equation. P is 100 rupees, principal in the beginning of the period, 100 rupees into bracket 1 plus interest rate we know 0.08. Okay, so divided by m. M is, what is m? Anybody recall? Can recall?
Number of times per year compounding is made, sir.
Yes, number of compounding periods or number of times interest is credited in a year. So in semi-annual compounding, how many times interest is credited in 1 year?
2 times.
2 times.
2
sir.
times. Very good. Okay, so we write 2 here. Bracket complete, whole raised to small m. We know already it is 2. multiplied by small n. N is the period of deposit 5 years. Okay. So now we have to find out the value. So again, we are going to refer table A1, no doubt about it. But can anybody tell me rate of interest column? Okay. And a number of year row. What we are going to consider here?
4% of 5 years.
4% 10 years, sir.
Okay. See, there will be 4 compounding periods, right? 4 compounding periods. Please remember 4 compounding. Sorry, I'm sorry.
2 compounding periods.
2
sir.
compounding periods in 1 year. Okay, I repeat, 2 compounding periods in 1 year. That is what we wrote here. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
And what is the period of deposit?
5 years.
So how many? Good. So how many compounding periods will be there in 5 years?
10,
10.
sir.
10. Very good. So we are going to 10. Very good. So we need to consider 10th year row. Which year row?
10th year row.
Yeah. Now, yeah, very good. Now coming to rate of interest. So rate of interest is 8%, right? Annually. So in case of semi-annual compounding, what rate of interest we are going to consider?
4%.
4%. Very good. It is 1/2 of the rate of interest. Because since interest is credited twice in a year at the rate of 1/2. So 8% interest. Okay, so we have to consider 4%. Means at the end of 6 months, the interest will be credited at the rate of 4%. At the end of 12 months or 1 year, another 4% rate of interest you have to credit. So that way you have to go on continuing. So very good. Now I'm going to share the time value tables. So this is how you need to remember. That's it. Okay. Though it is not difficult. Okay. But you need to be alert, cool and sound mind. So as per our discussion, I'm going to consider the 10th year row and 4% interest column. 1%, 2%, 3%, and 4%. So okay, what is the corresponding value? Can you tell me?
1.480.
Yeah. So 10th year row and 4% interest column, the corresponding value is 1.480. Okay, so very good. So now I'll come back to let's solve numerical. So can you see here I have inserted 1.480. So 100 into 1.480, the answer is 148 rupees. 148 rupees. So if Mr. X invests or deposits 100 rupee in a bank account for a period of 5 years at the rate of 8% interest, where interest is credited twice in a year or semi-annual compounding happens, he will have 148 rupees at the end of the period. So any doubts? Any doubts here?
No, sir.
Okay, then let me quickly go ahead through quarterly compounding. Again, stay with me, huh? Don't read in advance. So capital A is equal to, this is capital P, I'm sorry, capital P, okay, into bracket 1 plus small I divided by small m, bracket complete, whole raised to small m into small n. Okay, so now remaining all factors remain same. Okay, but only small m. Okay, in quarterly compounding, how many compounding periods will be there in 1 year?
4.
4. Very good.
4.
Very good. Because interest will be credited once in every 3 months. Once in every 3 months. So there will be 4 compounding periods in 1 year. So interest will be credited 4 times in a year, once in every 3 months, or at the end of every 3 months. So we write that small m, number of compounding period 4, small n is number of years or period of deposit 5 years. So what is the multiplication product of 4 into 5?
20.
20. Okay, so pay attention now. There will be 4 compounding periods in each year, and the period of deposit is 5 years. So total, how many compounding periods will be there in 5 years?
20.
20, sir.
20,
Yes,
right?
sir.
20 compounding periods will be there in 5 years. So which
5
year?
years.
Okay, so which year row we are going to consider?
20.
20th year row. Okay, and now coming to rate of interest. So original
2%.
annual rate of interest is 8%, but we have to consider interest will be credited once in 3 months at 1/4 rate. At 1/4 rate, right? So what is the 1/4 of 8%?
2%.
2%. 8% divided by, yes, very good,
4.
very good. 8 divided by,
4.
okay, 4 compounding periods is equal to 2. So I have to consider 2% interest column. Okay, so with that, yes, let me go ahead with the time value tables. Students, can you see this time value tables?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now you pay attention. See, 20th year row, I'm considering 20th year row, I'm considering, well, just let me go above. 20th year row and corresponding to 2% interest
Sure.
column. This is the 1%, this is 2%. It is not same, huh? 1.486. Can you see this? 1.486.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this 1.486, yes, I'm going to insert in the equation. Okay. So I hope you can see this. 1 minute. I'm sorry, I made a wrong share. Yeah, this is 2. So can you see this now, students? This PDF file, can you see?
Yes, sir.
So this 100 into 1.486, can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so when I multiply 100 into 1.486, I'll get 148 rupee 60 paise. So if this person deposits 100 rupee into a bank account, which gives 8% interest for a period of 5 years, and if the interest is compounded quarterly, he will have 148 rupees 60 paise at the end of the period. Okay. So now a small conclusion here for what you need to understand.